Drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid listeners, it's ya boy at Chops in the D coming at you with a Monday edition of one of those Kool-Aid packets. And hey, the Lions are on a bye week. They're out on vacation. They're kicking their feet up. They're enjoying some rest and relaxation. Hey, this week though, things are looking good. The NFC North right now is currently 0-2, with the Bears and the Vikings taking losses. The Green Bay Packers looks like they may pull out a win here against that smug, arrogant, pompous, you know what? You know, this was actually one of those situations where we're kind of rooting for the Pittsburgh Steelers and pompous, smug there to win, to take a notch down on the Packers there. But hey, it doesn't matter because the Lions are still something. You know what they are? They're still this.
The king in the north.
And they are looking to add to that, folks. So today, with us not having a game to review, not having a game to preview, you know we're going to dive into next week's game here when we hit you with the flagship show this week. But right now, I want to flip the script a little bit. I want to look to the future. I want to look forward. Today, folks, I want to think and talk about the trade deadline. It's coming fast, and our Detroit Lions are sitting right where they want to be at the head of the North. They're in the mix with a real shot to make some noise here in January. So here's the question. Do we make a move on or before November 4th? Does Brad, always open for business, Holmes, and Dan freaking Campbell go get that extra piece at the deadline to push this team from contender to absolute problem for the rest of the NFL? So today, I want to break down some guys that I think make sense. I'm not talking fantasy trades. I'm not talking Madden stuff here. I'm talking about 7 real names that can make a difference for this team right now. We'll dive into it and let's go. So first and foremost, look, I think all the buzz right now is around at the position of edge, okay? Everybody's clamoring over Trey Hendrickson, Phillips from Miami, all these other names. But to me, I think the Lions really feel like they like their guys. Especially with AKA DJ Reed, that's my DJ Reader, and Tyleik Williams just moving bodies up front. It's absolutely allowing the guys on the edge to be, well, you know what it's allowing them to be. It's allowing them to be this.
Unleash Hutch. I'm ready to unleash Hutch.
So Shep is able to unleash Hutch, and we know we got the Prophet on the other side. So for me, the main position of need right now is corner. We've got a lot of injuries. We'll go through it. We'll go through the list here, but right now, to me, they need to add to the corner position because we've got so many injuries. We know it was the cast, and Shep has been able to put a lot of Band-Aids on, bring up guys from the bowling alley. But I want to talk about some corner position players that make sense for the Lions, moves that help this team right now. Let's run through some heuristic names. And I'm going to start off with one with the Tennessee Titans. They're currently sitting at 2-5, and that's Roger McCreary. To me, this is my favorite sensible target, okay? He's not flashy, but he's absolutely physical. He's smart. I love this guy coming in out of the draft. He can play on the inside. He can play on the outside. Tennessee is in the middle of a full rebuild. We know this with that rookie quarterback. I think that they would be willing to make a move for Roger McCreary. He's 25. He's cheap. He fits Shep's physical, press-heavy scheme. I think this is one of those ones where you can give up a late round 2026 pick, maybe make it a conditional pick. And it's an easy call. This is a sneaky move that Brad Holmes can make on a guy who is going to need a contract extension. So I want to give you, I forgot to mention here, I'm going to give you some names, but then I'm not only going to give you the names, I'm going to give you an actual trade proposal from that the Lions could offer that I think could actually make this move happen. So for me, from Roger McCreary, I think the Lions could send a 6th round pick and maybe a conditional 7th round pick. Make it if McCreary is able to play like 70% of his snaps or something like that. We'll throw in a conditional 7th. And the reason why this works is because Tennessee is going to be looking for draft capital for this rebuild, and the Lions would be able to add a young 25-year-old affordable piece to fit this scheme. He fits this culture. I think he would immediately slot right in. We know the struggles that we've had with Terrion. We know the injuries that we have. I think Roger McCreary would be a great fit for this defense. Next name on the list. This one is very, very splashy, very popular name right now. Rick Woolen from the Seattle Seahawks. I still don't know if they're going to be willing to move this player because they're sitting at 5-2. But dude is 6'4", ran a 4.2. He's an absolute freak. Okay, Seattle's defense under Mike McDaniel doesn't really necessarily fit his style anymore. So there's some buzz that this player could get moved. And if that's the case, I think the Lions need to jump right on it. They need length and they need speed on the outside. And this guy checks both of those boxes. Again, this is a player that he's got a lot of upside, and it's a little risky, but it could be a gamble that pays off in January. So for me, for Woolen, the trade package I would put together is I think that a conditional fifth that maybe moves up to a fourth based on snap count could absolutely get this player in Detroit. It gains a lot of value for the Lions because, again, he's not a real big fit for Seattle right now, but he's athletic and he's young. He's another guy that's under team control for another year that the Lions would absolutely love to add in the mix. Next guy on my list is Taylor from the Saints. Alontae Taylor. Saints are, of course, 1-7. They're an absolute dumpster fire right now. We know they're in the middle of a rebuild. This is one of those guys that I'm hearing that's kind of like quietly available. I think the Saints want to keep this guy, but I'm sure they're taking calls because they need a lot of help. He's fast. He's physical, totally versatile. 36 pass defenses and 6 sacks already in his young career. This is a player that's kind of ascending. He's still on his rookie deal. For me, I think a 5th round pick and maybe one of our depth corners could absolutely get this done. New Orleans is going to want picks. Again, we know that they're hurting right now. So this is a player that helps the Lions, I think, right away. He comes in, but he's got a lot of upside. Another player that I'm looking at, and this is from a team that we know, I believe that, let me see here. The Dolphins were able to sneak out a win, a win today, but like the Dolphins are sitting, I think, at 2-6 now, and you know that they're starting to move players out here. What about Russell Douglas? Okay, it's a veteran move. He's steady. He's instinctive. He would bring some leadership to that position. He's not a burner, but the dude knows how to ball, and he is absolutely physical. You know, Miami's going to be looking to clear some cap space. I think you would be able to get this player for like a 6th round pick. It's just a straight up veteran rental for the long run, for the playoff run. But I think this is something that the Lions could definitely look at. We've got the cap space to fit him in here. Maybe they talk about, retaining some of his salary, but Douglas from Miami is another player that I'm eyeing up in that corner position. All right, I got one more for you here, folks, and this one's a little bit of I think that there might be some home cooking that may be able to make this one happen here, but I'm looking at Michael Carter II from the Jets. We know Aaron Glenn. We know they're ready for a complete overhaul there. He plays the nickel position. It's been a bit of a revolving door for us, but he's just steady as they come. He's a solid tackler. He can play man. He can play zone. He doesn't make many mistakes. He's probably a player that costs you like a 5th. Maybe, conditional goes up to a 4th depending on how many snaps he plays, but it's a smart move for a roster here. The Jets are, again, Aaron Glenn needs as many picks as he can get over there. If this guy can stay healthy, I think he can absolutely play some meaningful ball for us here. And again, the Jets, they want to clear some salary too, because they got a lot of work to do. So this is a player for me that makes a lot of sense for the Lions when it comes to locking up and finalizing their corner position. The other spot that I want to talk about, and I think that people are kind of sleeping on this a little bit here because we know that our starters are absolute studs, but players on the O-line, specifically in the tackle positions, I need a depth player here. Taylor Decker has been playing some gritty, gutting out performance with this injury that is going on here, but we know that protecting Jared Goff means everything to this O-line. We don't need a starter, but we need some reliable depth. And 3 guys that I've got that I think could fit the bill here and help our Lions make a run here for the Super Bowl. First one I want to talk about, I'm looking at Cam Robinson from the Houston Texans. Okay, we know that, again, Houston's sitting at 3-5. This dude is tough. He's durable. He's a grinder. He's exactly the kind of vet that you want in your locker room. I'm sure that Houston's probably looking to free up some money, pave way for some younger players. What do I think gets this deal done? If I can get Houston, if I can get the Texans to retain about $2 million in salary, I'd probably give up a fourth or a fifth round pick for this guy. The Texans are going to want to clear up cap space. The Lions want to add some veteran depth. And I think Cam Robinson would be a nice complementary piece there behind Decker if he's just not able to go. We know that we're good with Penny on the other side there playing tackle, but look, Decker is just battling it out here. So I think that Cam Robinson would be a nice little pickup. Another one, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate on this one. I know. It's an in-division trade. They're not feasible. They feel weird. Does Benedict really want to do this? But what about Braxton Jones coming from the Bears? They're sitting at 4-3. They really have to understand they probably don't have a realistic shot. They got beat by the Ravens. They don't have a chance to make the playoffs. Would Benedict make this move and send Braxton Jones? Okay, he's young. He's athletic. He's an absolute scheme fit with this zone that we play in Detroit. Could you send a future sixth, maybe a conditional fifth, to have him be a swing tackle to get him in here? I think for this one, it would be a low cost, high need insurance play. The Lions could pick him up for that price there. Chicago could get some future picks, which they know they're going to need. Benedict is going to want to get some pieces there. Another, like I said, familiar face there that they could possibly make a trade with there. But again, highly unlikely because it's the Bears. But I do like what Braxton Jones would bring to this Lions team. All right, and finally, for me, this is the big one. And I mean literally the big one because of how big this dude is. Evan Neal from the Giants. All right, the Giants are currently sitting at 2-6, and Evan Neal has struggled in New York for some reason. I don't know why. The dude is just raw. Like, he's 24 years old. He's 6'7", 350 pounds, former first-round pick. You bring him here, you let Frank Haley work his magic, and suddenly you've got a long-term depth piece that could actually, like, kind of be like a work in progress piece. I think that they could coach him up. I think it would be a buy low type of thing, and you could absolutely reap the benefits because, again, we know the Giants are just a dumpster fire. They don't have the ability to coach their players up like the Lions do. I say we could put together a package, a conditional 7th round pick, give them something. If Neal plays a certain amount of games, we'll make it into a 6th, but this is a low risk, high upside project piece that we could get. Evan Neal, and again, this dude's just a big nasty freak, and I think he could solidify that O-line if Decker is still hurt and we got to shift Penny around, or we just need to be able to let Decker rest and so he's ready to go for this playoff run. So that's my board, folks. Let's do a quick rundown here. These are my targets, and I'm going to kind of juggle them around here, and I'm going to rank them. So for me, Roger McCreary is number 1. He's a perfect fit, low cost. Rick Woolen, again, another name that's out there a lot, but I think he's a huge upside swing. Michael Carter II, I think he would stabilize the middle. A good piece there. Ranked number 4, I'm going Cam Robertson. Veteran depth piece for this playoff run, followed by Alante Taylor, potential long-term starter potential there. That we could fit in there if Carry-On doesn't end up working out there. A guy that we could put with DJ Reed on the outside there. Ranking number 6, Russell Douglas. Again, locker room leadership, veteran type guy. And then in the 7-8 spot, I've got Braxton Jones, which is not really realistic. And then Evan Neal, again, some developmental insurance there, but some big bodies that we can put up front on the offensive line. Every one of these moves for me fits the Brad Holmes formula, right? Like they fit the grit mentality, physical, team first, affordable. You don't have to mess around with a bunch of draft flexibility, but these dudes are guys. These are guys that would make moves that would make sense for the Lions. We don't necessarily have to make moves, but this is our opportunity to make a move in one of those two positions that would really solidify us, because we're going to be playing the likes of the Eagles, who are sitting at 6-2. We're going to have some tough competition. 49ers somehow sitting at 5-3. But if we're going to make a big playoff run, we're going to have to be physical up front, and we're going to have to be able to cover some elite wide receivers out there. So that's it, folks. That's it for the Kool-Aid Packet. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit me up at Chops in the D on the Twitter machine. Look, who are you riding with? Who's your pick here? I'm going to put up a Twitter poll, I think. Who are you taking? Are you taking Woolen? You looking at McCreary? Maybe he's one of those guys on the O-line. Maybe you're like Evan Neal up front there to help fill in for Taylor Decker if we need to. But look, I hope you enjoyed the show. We're going to have a few more opportunities to talk about players that are available before the deadline on November 4th. But for now,
Drink it in, man.
I love the Lions. Say it with me. I love the Lions.